And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to show you in a three-part series the Hugs and Kisses baby quilt that we have behind us here. It's just gorgeous.
And this is one of my favorite patterns that we have. I think it's really cute, Lynn.
It is neat. The designer did this with Michael Miller fabrics, and there are 3 different blocks in here, and we are going to start in this first video with the O shape, which is this one right here.
Okay. And they are all made with the 8-inch cube.
Yes. So that's great. So with your 8-inch cube, you are going to need dies 5, 6, and 8.
Right, and if you wanted to make your blocks smaller or larger, you could use a different size cube. And the beauty of working with the cube is that the numbers are going to be the same. So you would be using the same numbers, just end up with different size blocks, either smaller or larger, depending on which one you choose.
That's right. And you can also change up your fabrics with, this pattern, of course, too, and get a totally different look as well. So, okay, so let's get started with the cutting.
Absolutely.
All right. What we're going to do today, because we've got 3 dies, we've got kind of our blocks started over here.
Right.
And we've got our finished block here to use as a reference. We are going to we're going to focus on the square and a square in the center. And so we're going to cut the half square triangles, and we're going to cut the square itself. Square. And then we also have the rectangles that's part of it, but we're not going to actually cut those today.
Right, we've got those ready to go, so.
Okay, so what we need to finish off this block is the center square, and then we've got also a corner that's not done as well. So I'm going to cut all of the half squares, the little half squares we need, all in one pass.
Perfect.
Okay, so we've got 6 layers here of cotton fabric, and we've got 4 layers of the orange and then 2 layers of the white.
Right, because we do need more of the orange for that center, so that's great.
So, and I've got this cut on the lengthwise grain as it goes through the cutter. I want to make sure that we've got that, and then I will place my mat on top, and we're using the Go Big cutter.
Right, so we're going to be able to cut 2 dies at the same time.
That's right, woo, that's fun.
But these dies from the 8-inch cube would work in any of our cutters. They would work in the Go Baby as well as the Go, or the Go Big that we're using here.
That's
right. You'd only be able to use 1 die at a time in the Baby or the Go.
Right. Yeah, don't try
don't try this at home. Yeah.
All right, and so with our center square, I'm going to go ahead and cut 6 layers of white squares as well.
And that's almost all that we need for the whole quilt. So we only need 8 for the whole quilt. So really 2 passes with this 1 die, and you've got that whole section of cutting done. Really quick and easy.
And I think that's a great point to talk about with the cubes. I mean, you get your dies out that you need. You can cut all the pieces for your whole quilt in just a short amount of time.
And I like to do that. I like to get my fabric out. I like to prep it so that my width of fabric strips are just a little bit bigger than the shapes I'm cutting. Lay them out and just cut everything at the same time.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
All right, ready? Sometimes we do races to see who wins.
All right, so here are, got all those.
Here are all of those great half square triangles for us.
I'm going to turn these all over to you.
Perfect.
Okay, and then.
And I need my center square.
Got just one.
Just one. Go. Okay. Now when I'm doing a square and a square, I like to do sew my opposite sides on first. So I like to do one side, then do the opposite, and then move on and press those open, so that I have a nice seam to sew the other sides on. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that, Lynn.
So you're basically centering it on there.
Basically centering it on there. Our dog-eared corner isn't going to react quite the same with this, but when we press it open, you'll see that it's going to come out just perfect.
Okay, and this is true of all of the square on square combinations for all the different sizes of cubes.
And if I was doing this full quilt, Lynn, I would go ahead and do all of my one side pieces for my center squares. Then I'd go ahead, do all of the other side. Then I'd stop and press them open and move on to the other sides. I like to do a production line when I'm sewing like that.
That seems very efficient. So the best use of your time. But you can still use that dog-eared corner as your seam allowance guide.
Absolutely, it does still give you that. And I'm going to really quickly set that. We are going to press to the dark side here, so we're going to press it up really quick towards that half square triangle. And just roll that up. And again, it may have looked a little odd when we were first starting it, but now that we've got this first side on, you can see how nicely that lies on those edges. Now I'm ready to go ahead and do the other sides. Now that I have these first sides down, they actually give me the guideline so that it'll line up for me. So it's showing me exactly where I'm going with this.
It is pretty amazing how that happens. It's just, it fits right in there after you've got the first two pieces on.
I would have done much better in geometry class as a child if they'd caught me with quilting, I think, Lynn. Okay. And then we're just gonna pop that last one on because I like to have things finished.
Okay, and then I'm gonna get your next
If you want to get
sew
those
together.
ready for me,
Right.
then we'll be ready and we'll have this ready to finish off. And it is a good idea, as much as I like to produce mass quantities, it is a good idea to do a sample block first. Cut and sew one together just to make sure it works together the way that you think it's going to. Sometimes we learn from things as we go along the way. I like to say that I'm not the best at reading directions, and every once in a while I can
press that.
quilt myself into a corner. So having that sample block is a great thing to do. But once I've got that down, then I'd be doing all of my little half squares at the same time so that we'd have those ready to go.
Okay, so there's that.
Perfect. So this is going to lay right in there, and then we'd be ready to go ahead, sew our rectangles onto either side of this one to make that center row. Take and add our half square triangle unit down to the bottom. Press those all open, we'd be ready to go ahead and put that block together. Really quick and easy. And really, Lynn, this is a great shape. This little hug or O shape shows up in a lot of different quilt patterns that I've seen. So this is a great basic way to make that shape.
Right, it's a really great block to learn how to cut and sew because, yeah, absolutely, you can use it with other quilts. Well, this is wonderful. You can find this pattern at AccuQuilt.com.
That's right, and more inspiration, more patterns even, not only at AccuQuilt.com, but on Pinterest, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Right, and now stay tuned. We're going to have two more segments here where we're going to show you a couple of other.
We've got hearts and kisses yet to come.
That's right. Okay, so at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time
so you can quilt more.